Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. So we're taking a look at a Gourmand fragrance today, and this is one that I've owned for a long time. It actually came out back in 2014 by Kilian Paris. We have cinnamon and coffee and cardamom. This one is called Intoxicated. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin my fragrance review of Intoxicated by Kilian Paris, and I tell you all about this fragrance, what it smells like, what it reminds me of, what notes really jump off my skin, performance, and all that good stuff, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's episode. Now, I remember when this one came out back in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. There was another one called Light My Fire and another one called Smoke for the Soul, and they were all released simultaneously. And I think they all have something really special going for them. Of course, one of them was a weed-based fragrance, the other one was a tobacco-based fragrance. Here we have Intoxicated, which is a bit more on the gourmand side of things. I know the narrative out there, which is one that I would have to agree with, is that it actually reminds people of a very popular designer fragrance from the 90s. But I do think this fragrance has its own unique personality. It's composed by Kilian Paris, one of the most accomplished perfumers, incredibly impressive resume. You can definitely look up all of the other works composed by that perfumer if you wish. But I'm excited to talk to you about the smell. Let's take a quick look at the presentation. So the first thing that I would like to mention about this fragrance is that a lot of people liken it to the smell of Amen by Thierry Mugler. So Angel for Men. And that's been one of my favorite fragrances for a long time. I've gone through so many bottles of that stuff. I didn't wear it in the 90s per se, but I did wear it when I was in high school, if I'm not mistaken. And I've gone through several bottles, including like collector's editions. There was one that was in like a gold bottle, if I'm remembering correctly. And so this one kind of has that dark, gourmand, sweet, chocolatey, coffee kind of an aroma, and chocolate is not listed as a note if I'm not mistaken, but there is coffee in here, and that's also an ingredient that you're going to find in the original Amen by Thierry Mugler. Now, the way that I think this fragrance is different from the original is because of the coffee that's in here, or the cardamom, excuse me. Now, the cardamom is actually a really nice pairing to the coffee, and what the cardamom does, in my opinion, is it has this bright, aromatic, yet classy and professional demeanor about it. And of course, you think of cardamom, you think of like La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent, and the cardamom with the cinnamon kind of adds like this spicy intermingling quality, which is at times sweet, at other times very aromatic and bright, and it has that spicy kick that adds a really nice bit of flavor to the fragrance. And you know, one thing that I always think about when I think of Amen is I think of like the ethyl maltol, that cotton candy accord, if you will. It's also found in Angel for Women, which was an earlier 90s release composed by Olivier Cresp. And there is kind of like that personality about the men's version too, and I get that in this fragrance. Now, it doesn't smell like cotton candy, right? There are fragrances out there like Pink Sugar by Aquilina that definitely remind me of cotton candy. Nothing about this fragrance is juvenile. As a matter of fact, it actually smells quite professional while still having this gourmand personality about it that I really enjoy. Now, one thing that is said about Angel Men, I'm sorry to make all of these comparisons. I did not intend for this to be a comparison video, but I think given the fact that the majority of my subscribers have tried Angel Men, I think it'll become much easier for you to understand where I'm coming from while making references to that fragrance. You know, Amen is said to have this rubbery tar note in it. This fragrance, in my opinion, does not. So it opens up with this fulfilling coffee aroma, and it's not, you know, a very hyper-realistic a coffee ingredient, so it doesn't smell like a freshly brewed pot of coffee or anything like that. But it does have this slight coffee bean aroma to it that is coupled with cardamom. So it kind of reminds me of Turkish coffee in a way, but it has the cinnamon in here. There's patchouli in here, whether it's listed in the note breakdown or not. There's something that's verdant in the base that kind of gives off that patchouli vibe, if you will. And then there's also this sweet undercurrent. It could be ethyl maltol, it could be vanilla, it could be some other ingredient that is creating a little bit of like that chocolatey sweetness that I think is a great pairing to the coffee. So the coffee, the cardamom, and that chocolatey sweetness in the base really work hand in hand in an amazing way. I love this as a gourmand fragrance, and it's a gourmand fragrance that I don't ever really get tired of. It's one that I do wear sparingly and scarcely, so I do have to mention that, but it's one where every time I wear it, I'm like, I made the right choice today. There are some gourmand perfumes out there that can become sickeningly sweet, or there are some that possess a personality that I'm not too crazy about, like Baccarat Rouge, for example. Love the fragrance. I can't wear it every day, Same thing goes with the extrait. There's, a lot of fragrances that kind of have that effect on me. This fragrance, I haven't worn it 3, 4, 5 days in a row. I'll wear it once, every 2 weeks or something, but every time I wear it, I love it. And so I think it's a great fragrance. And if you have the opportunity to sample it, I think it's a gourmand that you should try. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, this, in my opinion, is not too unique of a fragrance given the similarity to Amen by Thierry Mugler. However, it does do things in its own way. So it does have its own personality. It does do things in a way where, because of the inclusion of the cardamom that's in here and the absence of that rubbery tar note, this one kind of does things differently. So I appreciate it for that. Very addictive scent, one that I personally enjoy. Longevity on it is a solid 8 to 9 hours. The projection is great for the first hour of application. It does start to sit closer to the skin at right around that 6-hour mark. At that 7 to 8 hour mark, it's pretty much a skin scent. And in terms of the versatility, I think this one is a special occasion fragrance. I think this is a colder weather fragrance. So I know we're in the month of April and it's, almost spring break for me. And I can kind of see myself wearing it when it's a little bit chillier outside. And so I think this one is perfectly unisex other than that. And I think this will appeal to somebody who's a little bit younger because of the sweetness, as well as somebody who's a little bit older because of the spiciness. Presentation on Kilian products is amazing. I'm sorry I don't have a coffret that I can show you today. I've been traveling with just the bottle. I actually have the coffret at a separate location where I shoot my videos, but my final verdict on this fragrance is it's a beautiful presentation. I love the fragrance. I think it's quite similar to the original Amen by Thierry Mugler, which was a 95 release, 96 release. But at the end of the day, I love that spicy kick that it contains. The cinnamon is a nice touch, and it still has a little bit of that patchouli warmth in the base with like a chocolatey vibe that I really enjoy. And if you haven't tried this one and you're a fan of Kilian fragrances, especially their gourmands, if you like Black Phantom, if you like, some of the other sweeter fragrances from the brand, the names of which elude me at the moment, definitely try Intoxicated. I think you're going to really enjoy this fragrance. So there you have it, ladies and gents. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was my review of Intoxicated by Kilian Paris. I purchased this one years ago, so I was well overdue for a review. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, give it a thumbs up. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.